Never stop reading the Bible. Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into a really crucial section of the Gospel of Mark, covering chapters 6 through 8. And trust me, this is where the story really starts to accelerate. Okay, so let's jump right in. These chapters are a massive turning point in the Galilean ministry. You see, Jesus' fame is just exploding, drawing these huge crowds. But with that growing celebrity comes more and more conflict, and a pretty profound misunderstanding of what his mission is actually all about. We kick things off in chapter 6, which is it's packed with action. It's like a whirlwind tour that shows his mission expanding, all while he's dealing with both powerful acceptance and some truly stunning rejection. The chapter just moves at a breakneck pace, and it's all built around this theme of contrast. It opens with Jesus being rejected in his own hometown. Can you imagine? But he immediately counters this by empowering his disciples and sending them out on their own. And then we see the power of that mission on a massive scale with one of his most famous miracles, feeding 5,000 people. It all culminates in this breathtaking act of divine power, where he walks on water to his disciples in the middle of a storm. Now, as you can guess, all this activity has a major consequence. The rumor mill is going crazy. People are trying to fit him into a box they can understand. Maybe he's a great prophet, or maybe he's John the Baptist brought back from the dead. This growing public confusion is so critical because it's what sets the stage for the intense conflicts that are coming.
So let's move on to chapter 7 and see how this all builds. Here, the central conflict kind of shifts. It's not just about miraculous power anymore, but about a fundamental clash of ideas, God's truth versus human tradition.
And here we see this debate in action. The religious leaders are all hung up on external rituals, like the proper way to wash your hands. But Jesus just cuts right to the heart of it, accusing them of replacing God's actual commands with their own man-made rules. He basically says they're more concerned with looking righteous than being righteous. And right after this tense confrontation, Jesus goes and demonstrates what true divine authority looks like. He travels into Gentile or non-Jewish territory and performs 2 powerful healings. It's like he's showing that his compassion and power aren't bound by the traditions or borders the religious leaders care so much about. This brings us to the climax of our story in chapter 8. All the miracles, all the conflicts, all the questions, they have all been building to this one moment, where a single revelation is about to change everything for his disciples. So the chapter kicks off with another incredible feeding miracle, this time for 4,000 people. And yet, despite this overwhelming evidence, the religious leaders still demand a sign from heaven. Jesus just flatly refuses. Why? Because he knows they aren't looking for a reason to have faith. They're just looking for a spectacle. Then, away from the crowds, at a place called Caesarea Philippi, Jesus turns to his inner circle and asks the most important question of their entire journey. He's heard the rumors, he knows what the public thinks, but now he asks them directly. And Peter, he just nails it. Speaking for the disciples, he makes this monumental confession. You are the Christ. This is the moment. It finally seems like they understand. He's the one they've been waiting for, the long-awaited Messiah. It's a huge breakthrough. But right after this incredible high, there's a shocking, world-altering twist. Jesus begins to explain what being the Messiah actually means, and it is nothing like they expected. It's not a path of political power or military glory. It's a path of suffering, rejection, death, and then resurrection.
So get this, Peter, the guy who just made that great confession, is so horrified by this idea of a suffering Messiah that he actually tries to correct Jesus. The whiplash is stunning, and it draws an equally sharp rebuke in return, as Jesus tells him he's thinking like a man, not like God. This just reveals how deep the misunderstanding was. Their definition of Messiah and God's were 2 completely different things.
This shocking revelation about the Messiah's true path leads directly to the final and most challenging takeaway from this whole section of the Gospel. It basically redefines everything. After explaining his own destiny, Jesus turns the focus back on them. He redefines what it means to be a disciple, completely. Following him isn't about gaining power or prestige. It's about radical self-denial and sacrifice. To take up their cross was a terrifyingly vivid image. It meant being willing to follow him all the way to a criminal's death. And so these chapters leave us with this really provocative thought. After all the incredible miracles, the public fame, and the private confession, The true, difficult challenge of understanding and following this kind of Messiah has really only just begun.
This explainer was brought to you by the Center Studio.